Enate orchestration is about driving service excellence through clear visibility, governance, and control of processes, and providing key metrics to improve customer experience and reduce costs. In this demo, we'll cover a simplified loan drawdown process where a customer needs additional credit and makes a request for it. We have three actors, Andy, Moira, and Sammy, who work on this process. Andy is a manager responsible for the loan process. Andy also is a processor himself. Moira's job is to triage work. Moira decides what needs to be done and which team needs to do it. Sammy is a loan processor and works in Andy's team on various subtasks in the loan process. In today's demo, a customer sends a request via email requesting a loan extension. Enate automatically picks up the email, creates a piece of work from it with a target due date, and puts it into Moira's inbox for review. Moira reviews it and understands it's part of a loan application from India for a Bank of People customer and will initiate the Indian loan process accordingly. This is a view from the Enate Builder environment where an orchestration or a process is built. The orange blocks in the diagram are called steps. Steps are logical groupings of different types of tasks in the process that form the end-to-end life cycle of the process. We start with a customer sending an additional loan request through an email. Moira gets into work and logs in for the day. Enate monitors input channels and automatically picks up the email and creates a work item for processing. Moira clicks on the Pull Work button to request what she should work on. Enate automatically assigns the next most critical work item from an SLA perspective to Moira. This makes work allocation most efficient and automated. Enate also allows human users to override and manually allocate work if needed. Moira can see various metadata about the work item, such as when it was received, primary requester, down below attachments in the request, and any defects. A time tracker tracks how long Moira is actively working on this item to help the business understand various utilization and productivity metrics. Moira reads the email content and launches the Indian geography version of Loan Drawdown for further processing. In our example, the triage has just been completed, and the first stage of Loan Drawdown process has been initiated for Bank of People for India. The first human actively to collect documents has now been created and put into the loan team's queue for working on. Now Andy, the team manager, logs in. On the top right-hand side, Andy can see all team members working for him. Each team member has a donut next to them, which indicates the number of work items that everyone is working on in real time. Enate is themed into green, amber, red across the work area. Green indicates work items due in the future. Amber indicates due today, and red is where currently work is running behind SLAs and is overdue. The bars represent the total number of work items in different queues. On the right side of the screen are unassigned work items building up that have not yet been picked up by any resource for processing. The line items in the left bottom grid are the work items that Andy and his team have responsibility for. Each line item represents a piece of work, and the RAG status is reflected on their due dates in the grid. Work comes into this grid through various input channels like emails, FTP, forms submitted in a website, chatbots, or from any upstream business system that can consume a standard web service REST API. When work is received through any of these channels, Enate brings it in as a standardized, structured piece of work with a due date against it. Due dates can be defined by simple business rules, and where possible, Enate can auto-categorize work and allocates it to the right team automatically. Enate thus gives you a standard view in real time of work being delivered across your business. Andy is also a processor in the loan process. Andy moves to his inbox to pick up the next thing for him to work on. The Collect Documents task is the most business critical from an SLA perspective now and is put into Andy's Enate inbox. Andy goes through the work item and discovers some documents missing. Andy now sends an email from within Enate using standard templates requesting the customer for the same. Andy then pauses the SLA clock by changing the work item status to waiting for more information. The piece of work is now paused and it's automatically moved into Andy's owned work list. As soon as the customer replies with the required documents, the response gets automatically attached to the running work item and lands back in Andy's inbox with a highlight telling Andy that new information has been received on the work item. Andy now opens the work item and sees the response. All the documents are automatically attached down below in the file section of the transaction. Andy verifies everything, fills in any relevant data points, completes any checklist items, and completes the task. With this, the first task in the process is now complete, and the second task, customer validation, is now launched and available for processing by the next available loan agent. Sammy logs in and requests the next piece of work she should work on. The task is assigned to her. Along with each task, checklist items are provided to agents. Without completing the checks, the work item cannot be completed, and this highlights to the agent that pending checks need to be performed. This enforces compliance and adherence to the standard operating procedures. Sammy checks if majority conditions are correct, validates interest rates and the customer's signature from an underlying banking or CRM system, for example. Sammy completes the checks and completes the work. The next two tasks are completed in a similar way by various agents, and we skip ahead to the last task of import operation in the loan completion stage. We can see where we have progressed in the life cycle of the process. In the task list, we can see the first task was completed by Andy, the second by Sammy, the third by Andy, and the fourth by Sammy again. The last task is the import operation. The last activity to import the transaction into underlying banking system, Andy picks that work item and imports it to complete the process. Enate gives you a full view in real time of different activities being processed and completed across the operation in real time. The Communication tab highlights all the inbound and outbound communication exchanged during the processing of this request with external and internal stakeholders. The Timeline tab shows the complete history of the end-to-end process. This includes when the piece of work came in, who all worked on it, what communications were exchanged, handling time for each task, changes that were made, and basically provides all the data necessary for audit and compliance reviews. This also feeds into productivity and utilization metrics for the business to understand and drive operational excellence across the service. Now we move on to queues. Queues are basically competencies or skill groups. Queues connect resources to work buckets. In this view, there are 4 queues. There's an approval queue, a back-office operations queue, and so on. Work items from multiple processes can be delivered into a queue. The approval queue has 2 individuals, Andy and John, who are authorized to work items in it. Andy and John can be added to multiple other queues, and team owners can move resources around as needed, depending on workload. When a resource is available for work, Enate checks across all the queues they're authorized to work from and gives them the next piece of work that's most critical from an SLA perspective. This optimizes work completion against SLAs most effectively against the available workforce. Reports in Enate are delivered via Tableau in real time and are available for use when you buy Enate. They are configurable depending on business needs. Reports are broadly classified into 4 groups. Day-to-day operational reports are a real-time view of your business. These cover items such as workload, volumetrics, timeliness, trends, turnaround times, TAT, actual handling times, AT, and so on. Utilization and productivity reports cover team, process, and individual productivity and utilization metrics. Automation potential reports are reports which provide guidance around what automation technologies to invest in, suggested tasks to automate next, and possible savings by doing so. Finally, bespoke or custom reports are ones which are specific to your business context. These can be configured on Enate's Tableau environment by business analysts as needed. To learn more, visit the metrics section on our website. Enate Service Orchestration drives service excellence through clear visibility, governance, and control across your operations.